Here we have a 16 Kia Sorrento, 54,884 miles. It is 5:35, so it's quitting time. Okay, there. P001000 intake camshaft position actuator circuit. So hopefully maybe that's just a
Smells like a freaking hotel room in there.
solenoid. It smells like kind of musky, moldy water or something nasty in there. Oh, look at that. It's got the electronic stuff going on. Huh. Does that look, that looks like a different, looks newer, don't it? Yeah. Somebody's already put that on there. Uh-oh.
That means it's the freaking actual actuator.
Actuator or...
Firing.
Let's see here, what, check the oil. All right, so the Sorrento here, I just pulled in last night and did some preliminaries on it. It's another beautiful day out there. It's supposed to be 78 today. So we had the P0010. And which is for this timing VVT solenoid here, electronic. Someone has already replaced it with a new one, so I'm going to check my power and ground going to it, see if I have power and ground. If I don't, then I'm going to have to look up wiring diagrams. So I'm going to unplug that and get my Maestro hooked up. Okay. For wiring diagrams, I like all data.
That's a 2016 Kia truck, Sorrento. I don't know if it's 2 or 4-wheel drive. 2.4
I'm
liter.
going to go to powertrain management, engine controls. Zoom that in a little bit so I can see. And let's look for VVT solenoid. Electric EC VVT motor, front of cylinder head. Okay, so we got a gray and a red, and that's what we have over there. So the gray comes down to right there. That's the negative, and the red comes down. So that comes down. ECVVT motor positive comes straight from the computer. Now it shows it also connects in over here on pin 87. I don't really get that. I don't understand right off. And the negative has 2 also, unless that's just a redundant backup in case one side of the computer messes up, maybe. I don't know. But red comes straight from the computer. Negative comes straight from the computer. PCM. Left rear corner of engine compartment. So there's no fuses in between. It just comes straight from the computer. So we either have a bad computer or bad wiring, and I'm assuming it's bad wiring. Okay, so I about went down a rabbit hole there. Luckily we had another car out there that I could do some comparative wiring testing, and then I found a Kia diagnosing video on this particular system. So I'm just going to walk through how it showed to test it, test the wiring. So my belief is somebody put this new BVT solenoid on there and they couldn't relearn it. Now I have the Snap-on Zeus. I don't even know if I'm able to relearn it. I've only dealt with one other one of these, and it was a 17Q50, and had to send it to the dealer to get that relearned. So we'll see if we can figure that out. But this is how it shows to test the wiring on this system. I was thinking, when it said 12 volts, I was thinking, you know, it should have 12 volts and be able to light a light bulb and carry current and all that. So, but apparently that's not the case. So it says unplugged, red wire, 0.54 volts. And then on the gray one, this is just with the voltmeter, from that to ground, 11.3 volts. Battery, key's been on a while, so battery's probably going a little dead. And then it says, with it plugged in, to back probe each wire individually one at a time and go to ground, and you should have approximately 3.6 volts. And I've got 3.6 volts. Go to the other wire, 3.6 volts. So I do have 3.6 volts. Now I just have to figure out how to reset this. ...2016 Kia Sorrento, 54,000 miles. I think I have some footage of diagnostic and code scan. All right, so now this diagnosis is not from experience, it is from research, and that's it. Now, this has been to another shop, and they replaced this outer VVT cover here. And then we got back with the warranty company, and they said they had also replaced the phaser inside of here, which is electronic. So from my research, so now all I did, I pulled out this little plug here, down in there, just popped it out. I didn't pop it out all the way, you can't because of this motor mount. I just popped that out and seen oil in there. And watching videos and doing research, this is a plug that goes inside of there, and it has to go in, I believe it was 9/16 of an inch. And there's a special tool, but I'm just gonna mark a socket at 9/16 of an inch and knock it into there. But my theory is that they did not get this plug in correctly. Like I said, I have not torn this apart. I didn't want it in my bay with the engine mount off and all that, waiting on a part, waiting on approval. So I said, just get me this little plug. I think it was $12.49. There's the part number. And then I'll take it apart and see if I'm correct. So we're gonna get this mount off here, jack the engine up, get this cover off, see how much oil is actually in this thing here. Because there's not supposed to be any oil in there at all, because that is a electronic, I guess I would say kind of, I don't know, like an electric motor, but it's an electronic VVT solenoid or phaser or something. I've never had one of these apart, no experience with it whatsoever, so just some research. So we're going to take it apart and see what's in there, and if we think this is going to work. Let's get to it. bracket. Alright, I'm going to take my coolant reservoir loose. I don't want to take a chance of busting that.
Unplug the sensor.
14 and a 12. Okay. Alright, we got that off there. Now, did I don't remember taking this bolt out right here. Let's see. Yeah, so they did not put that bolt back in. It's missing. Well, let's see, now we can get this plug all the way off. I was gonna say, I hope there's a bunch of oil in there because, yeah, look at that. Because if there's not a bunch of oil in there, then I made a wrong call. Okay, let's see here. Look at that, it's got oil running out. Can you see that? Yep. See all that oil coming around it. It really don't look like it's in there at all. Like it's just sitting there. Let me get my pocket screwdriver here real quick. Yeah, it's just sitting there, guys. Look at that, bro. That's good news for me because that means that my diagnosis is correct. Or likely correct. Well, it's correct. All right, I never doubted myself. Hey, I've never done one before. Never even had one of these plates off of there. So, but the thing is, I'm still gonna have to take that off of there. I was gonna say I could just put that plug in there. Ooh, don't wanna lose that. But I have to clean out all that oil. So, look at that, it's dripping down on the stinking belt. Get my belt all wrong. I'm gonna have to clean that off. All right, let's quit playing around and let's take off this cap here.
So that thing is plumb full of oil. Because that cap keeps the oil out of there. That seal, that plug.
All right, let's see. Look at that. Dumped oil out everywhere. That's the problem right there. Because see, you got two little brushes here. And they have to read on this cam phaser. And now the warranty company said that somebody put a new one of them in there. I do not believe they did. All they did was put this cap on there. The reason I do not believe it, let's get a better look. Let's wipe this off. I mean, I could be wrong. Always couldn't be wrong. I can always be wrong. And I don't care to admit when I'm wrong. That's how you grow, that's how you learn, and that's how you become better. Okay, so I do not believe that they changed that just for the simple fact of looking at the front of it. Look the way it's worn there. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would think that would, I don't know. I've never even seen one of these with my eyeballs, so I cannot really say. But it just does not look, that just does not look like a new part to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. So let's take a look at the inside of this cap, because I want to know how the oil don't get in there. Okay, so you've got a big seal here, like a rear main seal, and that would come new with this cap, and the cap is new, so likely this is good because the cap is new. That keeps it from getting in by spinning around this. This seal keeps it from leaking out, and this little plug here, that don't even look like a new plug to me, but this little plug goes in there. Like I said, I'm gonna have to read up on that part of it. And keeps it from leaking through there into here. Let's take a look. Let's take a closer look at the plugs. Yeah, they didn't replace that plug. Look at that, folks. Definitely, 100%. They did not replace that. So that was not even in there like that. Because it just, I could tell it was in there uneven. So it was not even in that far. Huh. You know, I wonder if I should take a little emery cloth and hit that just a little. I don't know. Probably shouldn't be doing this. Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just shine it up a little bit.
Yeah. Now let's get the blowgun. I think I'm gonna have to hit it again with some brake clean. All right, so I was saying, do you think this is gonna fix it? I do. As long as this is not shorted out or tore up, I think this will fix it. So it says to go in 9/16, and that's from the outside cover. But you see that lip right there? It's gonna go all the way to there and it's gonna stop. So I don't even think it matters about the 9/16, as long as you make sure it goes into that lip and stops. But all right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the plug on right now with that cover off of there. Wipe that out real good. Boy, it went in awful easy. I don't like that. Okay, just got a 13mm socket. Just gonna give it a little tap. Now, like I say, this is my first one of these that I've dealt with and had apart. So, but the only thing that should be inside of here is a little bit of dust from these brushes. That's it. No oil whatsoever. I got that cleaned out about the best I can. Everything still looks good. So we'll get the cover put back on there. with our 410 millimeters. Just gonna give them once over with the ratchet here. So let me see what this says. The actual reading that is back in there. Okay. Mine is back in there 0.728, and that is bottomed out, and that's where I'm going to leave it. So I'm going to stop right now and go look and see what it said, how deep it's supposed to be real quick. Okay, so it looks like this here is a tool to line up the cover, which I do not have. Slowly push the cover on until it's flush with the timing chain cover surface. Notice, installing the cover without this tool may cause oil leakage inside the ECVVT motor due to damaged or separated ECVVT oil seal. So I do not have that tool, so hopefully that is not the most important thing in the world. By using this tool, insert the plug A, there I guess, into the cover hole. Do not reuse the motor plug. Mount the stopper of the ST, which is the tool, so that it sits at the end of the ECVVT motor shaft. Okay, that last picture was just a picture off of the internet, off of a video, to where I could see the depth of that thing. And that looks, in that last picture, looks exactly where I have my plug. So I'm just going with that, and I'm gonna get her put back together. I'm just gonna explain this here, what it is, what it means, to the best of my knowledge. Okay, this is the cover, okay, which is gonna be considered the center boss, okay? So the outside edge to, I think I'm messing up my focus getting my hand in there. Outside edge, then we have that on number 1 here, that line goes in to the green, and that is the end of the motor shaft, okay? 1 is from the outside edge of the cover to the motor shaft, and you can look in there and see it just fine, okay? Number 2 is from the outside edge to the plug that you put in there, to the ECVVT plug, okay? Number 3 is the difference between the shaft end and the front of the plug. So let's see if this makes sense here. 3, which is the difference between the shaft end and the front of the plug, should be, so that's the difference between your first 2 measurements, should be between 0.0748 and 0.0827. Okay, and my measurements with this little weird drawing here, my measurements are number 1 is 0.620, which number 1 is from the outside of the housing to the motor shaft, is 0.620. The second measurement is from the outside of the cover to the front of the plug, and mine is 0.729. And if you subtract them, I have 0.109. Okay, 0.109. And they are saying I should have between 0.0748 and 0.0827. So if you take 0.0827 and subtract it from 0.109, I did not write that number down, but that number is the difference between that line and that line, that little bitty bit, you know, so like a 32nd of an inch. So basically what that's saying is that my plug is in a 32nd too far. I've got it pushed in too far. So number one measurement is 0.620. Number two measurement is 0.729. And then that is number three is 0.109, which is the difference between those two right there. Or no, that's the difference between number one and number two. And then the difference between 0.109 and the maximum they say you can be in of 0.0827 is the difference between those two lines right there. So I know that's, I probably butchered that horribly, but hopefully, maybe, it'll help somebody understand. If not, it'll at least confuse you. So, all right, now I am putting her back together. I got my plug, outside plug back in, and the flat spot goes up on that. I had looked at my camera, had a low battery light on, so I got this engine mount bracket on there. And all that craziness earlier with the measurements and everything, there's a stopping point in there. So, and that's all I did was went into that, but then I tried to tap it in more. So, I mean, I feel confident if you just go into that edge, you just push it in there lightly on the edge, where it hits that edge, you're good. But you can try to do all that measuring stuff if that's what you want to do. All right, now we'll get our engine mount back down in there. And our top engine bracket. On there. Put our coolant reservoir back in. Plug your sensor back in there. Put your cover back on. Okay. Now there is a relearn, but I do not know if I will have to do that or not, because basically all I did was have that cover off there. So if the last shop did that, whenever they did their work, I don't think I will have to do it. Not 100% sure. So let's go ahead and go into engine codes. I know my phone's gonna die very soon. It's flashed low power at me a few times and stopped my recording already. So let's see what's in there. P0010 intake camshaft position actuator, circuit bank 1. Now, before this would reset, just as soon as I started the car, it would reset. So let's clear the codes. Let's go back in and just make sure they're not there. Nothing there. Start the car. It would so before it would reset. It basically, the car would like vroom, vroom, and then it reset every time, and it was just like 5 seconds of it running, and it would do it. So, and it didn't have any power, you know. I can already tell it's good because it would have already did it. So I'm going to I am going to go take it for a test drive real quick. Yep. Call this thing done. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going on a real quick little test drive. So he said after that we're going. So I am going to buy another car. This one is a 2004 Jaguar. So supposedly it has an engine knock. It was actually one of his friends or something, cousin's friends or something, and let me get my seatbelt on so we ain't listen to that. It was somebody he knows, and he was going to do some brake work on it or do something to it, side work, and the guy dropped it off at his house but said my engine's knocking now or something, so I don't know. But it has the Ford 3.0 in it. It's a 2004 Jaguar X Series. Now it's got like 190,000 miles on it, I think, but the thing looks immaculate inside and out from what I seen of the pictures. And when I think he brought it up here, and I'd seen it for a second then, I can't remember, but $300. So, and you know, it's probably only worth, I don't know, maximum with a good engine, $3,000, but I'm assuming you can probably get those engines cheap. I don't know. So, all right, well, I am really, this needs driven more. I'm gonna go ahead and put 3.5 miles on it because Gary's changing his oil, and then we're headed over to get that car. So I'm just gonna take it on my little 3.5 mile track and call it good. Let's see, 54,934 miles. Yeah. And like I said, it was setting the code. You reset the code, start it up, 5 seconds every time. It would do 2 hiccups and set the code. So yeah, I'm calling this one good. Well, I hope this helps somebody, because like I said, this is the first one I've done. So I had to look up service data, and I looked up a couple videos, researching, trying to figure out, trying to diagnose it, but we got it. So I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.